For this lesson, you're going to need your student notebook opened up to lesson 8. You're going to need your map of Tucson, and you're going to need your plotter. Now, in the last lesson, I had you guys plotting your 4 points for where you're going to be flying in Tucson. We need to make just a couple adjustments to that. So I don't know if you can see it, but we need to make a few adjustments. For Tucson International Airport, we had originally put a dot around here where the words were. I did not realize that there was a star here. So we're actually going to use that star as our dot. Let me use a dark marker so that you can actually see it. And that's where our Tucson International Airport dot is going to go. Green Valley, it's okay if it just goes on the word Green Valley. For Nogales, we're going down here. We're looking at this little area here. That's kind of the airport. So we are going to put our dot there. I don't know if you can see that. Let me make it darker. And then for Ryan, we're actually going to put it here. And what those, they look like T's, but those are actually the runways, which is why we want our dots to go there. And then, of course, connecting the dots with solid lines would be the next step. This is what your completed map should look like. This is the shape we're going for. The next thing we're going to do is actually plot the points as letters, because normally when we've been plotting things, we refer to point A, point B, point C, point D. We're going to do the same here. Tucson International Airport is going to be point D, so you can put a D next to Tucson International Airport. Green Valley is going to be A, Nogales is going to be B, and Ryan is going to be C. Before we really start diving into the meat of the lesson, which would be actually figuring out course and distance, I just want you guys to know that this lesson is really busy, and you're going to be doing a lot of different types of things that we've accumulated knowledge for over the course of last quarter. Just know that all the information that you're using today is what you're actually going to be using on your flight. So it's make sure that you're taking your time and you're being a little more precise than you may have been in the past. Also, I'm not expecting you to be an expert navigator by the end of this lesson. I want you to be very aware of what is expected of you on actual flight day. So to help with time control, you must have your chart annotated, and we're going to have all of our courses measured before we really start diving into the meat of the lesson. And we're going to check them in class and make sure that we're all kind of on the same page and really, really close. Also, another note, things do not have to be completely 100% the same as what I have or what your neighbor has. As long as you're close, that's all that matters. The next part of this lesson is going to be measuring the course and distance between each point. So we are starting off, we're taking off from Tucson International Airport, and we're flying to Green Valley, then to Nogales, then to Ryan, then back to Tucson International Airport. So what the first points that we need to calculate course and distance for is point D to point A, because we're going to be above Tucson International Airport and we're going to be flying to Green Valley. I'm going to do D to A with you, and then I want you to pause the video and then chart the rest of your course as well. So to go from D to A, I need to remember what direction I'm going in. So I'm going to be moving south, almost exactly south, maybe a little bit southwest. So I should be between 180 and 270 here for degrees in my course. Probably closer to 180, I'm assuming. So let's take a look. So I'm using my lines here, lining up my plotter like this. And I'm looking at almost exactly 180 degrees, but I would say I'm about 181, 182. Again, it's okay if you're not the exact same. So I'm going to draw my arrow going this way, and I'm going to write 182 degrees. And then measure distance in nautical miles, not in statute miles. Sorry, I just moved that. and I'm looking at about 15 nautical miles. That's NM. So I want you to pause the video, and then you need to plot point A to point B, and then from B to C, then C to D, and we'll go over those when you are done. All right, here's what I got for my course and distances. From D to A, I got 182 degrees at 15 nautical miles. From A to B, I got 172 degrees with 29 nautical miles. B to C, I got 340 degrees with 47 nautical miles. And from C to D, I got 98 degrees at 13 nautical miles. If you did not get anywhere near those numbers, please stop the video, ask the teacher for help, ask a neighbor for help, somebody who did get close to my numbers. Somewhere in this area is okay. You should now have all the information you need to start completing your flight plan. So if you take this and you turn the page, you're going to see a flight plan chart, which is exactly what we're looking for. Date is going to be February 24th of this year. And takeoff time, we're not 100% sure on takeoff time yet, so we're actually not going to put a takeoff time or an ETA until we get our actual flight time. As far as ground speed, that's going to be determined by how the wind affects the aircraft while it's in flight. Headwind means that the wind is slower, and tailwind is when it's faster. So for this lesson in flight plan, we're going to use a light and variable wind, which means our ground speed is going to equal our airspeed. So a realistic and convenient ground speed is going to be about 100 knots. So you can go ahead and fill in 100 knots for each ground speed. And also for our checkpoint, we are going to obviously start takeoff to TIA. So under checkpoint, we're going to put takeoff to TIA. The next point is going to be Green Valley, because we're going from TIA to Green Valley. Then we're going to Nogales IAF, International Air something. And then we're going to Ryan Field and then back to TIA. So go ahead and fill that in and also fill in the ground speeds. Now that you've got your checkpoints and your ground speeds all plugged in, you're then going to plug in the course for each point. And you can do that now. Remember for the takeoff and TIA line that we're not really going anywhere from takeoff to the Tucson International Airport. It just means we're taking off. We're going to be above Tucson International Airport. So you don't need to put anything on the takeoff and Tucson International Airport line. So you have to start going from TIA to Green Valley, then Green Valley to Nogales. That's why I have nothing under course for the first line. Next, you can fill in the variation. As always, this is going to be minus 12 degrees. And then you can calculate your magnetic heading by taking your course and subtracting the 12 degrees and then putting whatever number you got under magnetic heading. So take time to do that now. Again, please remember that your magnetic headings may be very different from mine. They shouldn't be super different, but it's okay if you don't have the same exact numbers as mine. But you should be somewhere in this range for each of these checkpoints. So then you can go ahead and enter in your distance. The next step will be to calculate time. So remember the formula, distance divided by ground speed equals whatever times 60, and that will equal your time. And remember, if you do get a decimal point, please make sure to round either up or down depending on what that decimal point is. We do not want any decimal points for time. After you're done calculating your times, you should have somewhere around my time. So TIA to Green Valley should be about 9 minutes. Green Valley to Nogales should be about 17 minutes. Nogales to Ryan Field should be about 28 minutes. And Ryan Field back to TIA should be around 8 minutes. Then you're going to go ahead and calculate your total time and total distance. Remember, this is going to be the same as what you already have written here, and then you're adding on each time depending on what you got for these answers. This will conclude your flight plan. So you should have a total time of about 1 hour and 2 minutes, or 62 minutes. And you should have a distance of around 104 nautical miles. Now remember, the ETA we're keeping blank because we don't have our takeoff time yet, so we can't calculate that until we do have that time.